Hi, welcome to List Movies. Today I am going to explain an American science fiction adventure film called Axel. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. At the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to Axel via a promotional video. It is being narrated by Andrik, a crane system scientist. He describes his new and innovative technological development, a piece of military kit resembling a dog and blessed with the loyalty of Anitu. The purpose of the video is to win a contract to supply these. As it plays out, we learn the name is derived from the world's attack, exploration and logistics. In the next sequence, Miles Hill is competing at a motocross event. He is winning a race, but as he slows for a corner, a fellow competitor, Sam Fontaine, crashes into him, breaking his chain. Sam goes on to win the race. Miles and his father Chuck then approach the significantly wealthier and well-equipped Fontaine family team to try to borrow a chain for the next race. Their request is denied. Luckily, Sarah Reyes, a friend of their rival, steals a chain and gifts it to Miles. As a result, Miles is not only able to enter but also win the final, main race of the day. After the race, Sam approaches the victor to invite him to a party. Miles is disinclined to accept the invitation, but as they are packing up their gear, his dad persuades him otherwise. The Fontaines have money and connections. These, Chuck tells Miles, could be useful to him. Over at Crane Systems, an issue has arisen. An Axel robot has escaped. In a panic, Andrik yells at his colleague to launch the drones in an attempt to track him down. We then see the dog out in the wilderness, climbing to the top of a big rock and looking out across the valley. On the advice of his father, Miles does indeed attend the party, where he is greeted in a friendly manner by Sam. Sam then picks up a flamethrower and uses it to set fire to an abandoned car, while his friends film him. He invites Miles to take a turn, but he turns it down, saying it isn't his thing. He then takes a wander around and finds the garage, in which he inspects the motorbikes therein. Sarah follows him inside, and the two get to know one another. It turns out that she is single and lives on the property because her mom works for the family. The next day, a hangover, Miles is speaking with his dad. His dad advises him that his career as a racer won't last forever. Miles, however, responds by telling him it's the only thing he's good at, that his grades were poor, and that he can't afford college. His dad tells him that motorcycling is the only thing he's ever really tried his best at. Next, we watch as a swarm of drones sweep over the countryside in search of the dog. Andrik then receives a call from a military official, Captain Weber, who reminds him of an up-and-coming appointment to demonstrate his robot. She notes that he has gotten through a $70 million budget and has yet to show any remotely battlefield-ready results. Clearly there is pressure on the crane team to deliver. Out in the countryside, Miles has joined Sam and his friends in filming some motorbike stunts. Though appearing to be friendly, one of them tops up his fuel tank from a can of soda. As a result, during his next stunt, his engine cuts out, causing him to crash quite dramatically. The group then abandon Miles along with their GoPro camera, leaving him with little but a can of fuel. Without a means of getting home, Miles begins to consider where he might spend the night. When scoping out an area of wasteland with a container on it, he first encounters Axel. Initially fearful, he flees on his bike, but his inquisitiveness leads him to creep back to further scope out the dog. At this point, Axel, who we note needs to refuel, gives chase. During the pursuit, the dog sustains damage, but Miles comes to his aid. The dog is able to direct repair instructions to Miles' mobile phone, which clearly help him provide this. Back at the Fontaine residence, Sarah has seen a video Sam has posted of Miles' crash. She confronts him about this and discovers that he left Miles where he had fallen. Concerned, she demands to know his exact whereabouts. It is clear she wants to help him. Miles, meanwhile, is now busy playing with freshly revived robotic dog he has fixed up. Returning to the Crane Systems facility, Andrik and his colleague Randall have located Axel. While the latter is clearly keen to reel him in, Andrik declares they have now found a human test subject for their technology. Though Randall is clearly against this idea, it seems it is Andrik who is pulling the strings and in control. Out in the country, Sarah arrives to assist Miles. Here he introduces her to Axel as a friend and helps her to conquer her fear of the robot. Later at dusk, romance between the two of them begins to blossom. They camp out for the night, and, as they talk, Miles explains that Axel is ridden with bullet holes. As a consequence, he is resistant to return the dog to its owners, despite Sarah encouraging this. The pair of them then begin to dance as Axel uses a projector located in his head to create an appropriate light show. The next day they debate what to do with Axel. Eventually Miles is able to convince Arado to take him with them. En route, they stop off at a gas station. Here Axel not only pays for the fuel, but also empties the ATM in support of his new friends. They gladly accept the cash before taking him out to a disused building which Sarah uses to practice her graffiti art. As Sarah is showing off her artistic side, Axel interjects. He projects a video onto the wall of the house to explain where he comes from and what his purpose is. At the moment it introduces his ability to pair with a human, he offers Miles a small round metal gadget. Miles presses this to initiate a pairing. We also learn in this scene that the dog has the ability to self-destruct if facing capture. Having used an app on her mom's phone to locate Sarah, Sam rolls up to the derelict building on a quad bike. Clearly jealous of the budding relationship between her and Miles, he takes a swing at his fellow racer. Miles evades this before Axel interjects. Miles instructs the dog not to hurt Sam, but sends him packing nonetheless. Elsewhere, Andrik is excitedly monitoring these interactions. Having been 6 months behind schedule, he believes this experiment could put them 5 years ahead. While Randall is clearly frightened that someone will get hurt, Andrik is less concerned. He reminds his coworker of the business they're working within. Later that night, when Miles is back at home telling his dad about Axel, Sam and his friends head out to the old house. They pour petrol into the container the robot is standing in, then, armed with the flamethrower, they set fire to the dog. As Andrik watches on, devastated, it seems to go offline. Sarah sees the attack via a post on social media, and she heads off on another rescue mission with Miles in tow. Back with Axel, he messages them instructions via Miles' phone once again. They load him into her trailer and follow directions provided by the dog to a warehouse. Here they set about fixing him up. All tasks completed, they are then told to tow it for 2.5 hours until they can fully reboot. Crane Systems, however, are now on the trial and keen to recover Axel. An agent shows up at Chuck's house and enters it to search for clues. He doesn't take kindly to this show of force though, and is able to disarm and tie up the man performing the search by threatening him with a bow and arrow. He also ensures he is unable to find the Perindivis. As Axel comes back online, Andrik is given his new location and sends a team in to make the recovery. They enter the warehouse with the rebooting procedure still yet to be completed, but with mere seconds remaining. The time lapses and Miles creates a distraction to prevent Axel from being muzzled. The troops are quickly suppressed, which gives Axel the chance he needs to get away. He is on a mission to neutralize the threat of Sam. Axel locates Sam and his crew on a shopping run and begins to trail them. He follows them to a party where he leaps from a roof and in pursuit of Sam, who is able to take refuge under a car. While all his fellow partiers flee, Millicent and Sarah arrive by bike. Sam is able to keep the dog at bay using his flamethrower but soon runs out of fuel. However, his not exactly friends interject at the last minute to save him. Out of nowhere, a swarm of small drones then surround Axel. They appear to electrocute him, causing him to collapse. He is taken back to Crane Systems, along with his human companions. Despite his best efforts, Andrik is unable to hack the pairing system and tells Miles he needs the pairing device. Miles refuses to comply with his wishes and questions the ethics of the project. To up the ante, Randall brings in Sarah, who Andrik threatens, using Axel, who he is controlling from a tablet. Sarah is able to use a flashlight to communicate with the dog in the way she had previously trained it through, and it recognizes her as an authorized user. Before the situation can be resolved, the United States military arrives to arrest Andrik. It seems he has been reported by Randall for endangering the public. They are also there to recover what they refer to as their asset. To distract them, Sarah is the first to exit facility. As she is being handcuffed, Axel and his motorbike riding buddy burst out at speed, with Miles using the back of his dog to help them jump the perimeter fence. The two flee, but are quickly tracked down by the drones. These work to partially disable the still-running Axel, who then initiates his self-destruct sequence and explodes. This isn't the end of it though. At the military prison, Weber informs Andrik that Axel's code is resurfaced and questions him as to whether he is behind this. He denies it. Miles and Sarah, elsewhere, bid goodbye to Chick as they head off to college, with a scholarship each provided by the military. As they play with a real dog on a beach, Miles receives mail from his father. It is Axel's pairing key. He presses it to find it comes back to life. Immediately they both receive messages on their phones. Incredibly, Axel is still alive. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn in the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.